Hey, free-to-play gang, I came home as fast as I could. Okay, so I was actually out for a bit, but then this dropped at the right time. So let's take a look at the patch details. And I think I have to split this out into separate videos, okay? Because this has just way too much information going on. So we're going to take a look at the new Espers for this video. And I've glanced through each of the new Espers, and I can say that, oh my gosh, this is really crazy. Okay, so the first one, Ollie Osiris. Obviously, this is what everyone's interested in. He is a flow-attuned Esper, so he could potentially be quite useful in Chronos, but let's take a look at his kit, right? So Ollie is a fighter Esper with support abilities capable of preventing allies from dying. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. He's a fighter with supporting abilities. So Ollie's first ability, Hook Strike, deals damage to an enemy with a chance of inflicting silence. Okay, silence is not a bad debuff. Now next, when an allied Esper takes a fatal hit, Ollie's passive ability is Salvific Judgments, grants Salvific Judgments to prevent them from dying, as well as invincibility and recovery, and inflicts Law of Duat on the attacker. I do not know what that is. Oh, okay, so Ollie's third ability, so you inflict a third ability on the attacker, deals damage to an enemy with additional damage based on the target's max HP, inflicting defense down and taunt to them. And the thing is, when you ascend them, you also grant yourself an invincibility buff. So this is crazy. I wonder what's the cooldown on this passive though, because this is insane. So when your ally dies, they don't actually die and instead they become invincible. That is insane. And of course the source, you can summon him from the Go record and he will have a probability up event for this update as well, increasing your chance to acquire Ollie. Now next, Laura. Okay, so I think for this entire patch details, this is just my opinion. I think that she's the most broken Esper in this entire list. Now let's take a look at Laura. Okay, so Laura is a support Esper who grants a shield to all allies and counter attacks the attacker when her shield is destroyed or dispelled. Okay, that's fine. So she's kind of like a Bardon, right? No, she's not. Okay, so Laura's first ability, Shield Attack, deals damage to an enemy based on her attack and max HP with a chance of inflicting silence. So naturally you want to build her with a lot of HP, and this becomes a little bit clearer as well. So after each allied Esper takes an action, Laura's passive ability, Shield Guardian, grants the ally a shield which absorbs damage based on her own max HP. This is insane. And of course, if the allied shield is destroyed or dispelled, then she has a chance to attack the attacker. This is crazy good, dude. You don't even understand how strong this is. This is an insane combo with Sally right now. So basically, if you do not know why Sally is so broken, it's because that it doesn't matter if the fight drags on, her damage mitigation still stays at 25%, no matter if you're like turn 1000 in the point war battle. So essentially this shield, which doesn't decrease as the point war battles drag on, only heals get decreased, this maintains as well. So essentially using Laura with Sally makes you incredibly strong as a tanky meta. This is the true tanky meta, by the way. This is the true tanky meta. So essentially what this means is as the fight drags on, your team is still going to be equally defensive, but your damage is going to increase. This is crazy good. Okay, so Laura's third ability, Iron Wall, grants shield and crit resist to all allied Espers. This is even more broken. So if she takes her first turn, so the difference between Sally and Laura is that Sally can be built slow, and in fact it might be a good idea to build slow so that your allies have more turns to take before she actually runs out of her third skill buff. But for Laura, she can definitely be speedy, so she grants herself a shield and crit resist to all allied Espers near the start of the turn. And if the target already has a shield, you increase the shield strength. So that means that if you're running her with Adamantine, you have so much shields from the beginning. Because don't forget that Adamantine is also based on your own max HP. So naturally, she's going to be so strong with Adamantine. I think that she is probably the most incredible Esper over here. Now moving on to Nicole, this is Nephthys, 4-star Shimmer attuned Esper. Oh, and by the way, Laura is a Shimmer attuned Esper as well, so she's not going to be that easy to acquire. Now, Nicole is a support Esper who can revive and take damage in place of allies while granting them defense up, invincibility, and other buffs. So it seems like there are a lot of supports in this lineup over here. So Nicole's first ability, Spiral Strike, deals damage to an enemy based on her max HP with a chance of inflicting Seer. This is pretty good. This is really quite good. Now, Nicole's second ability, Dead Man's Protection, grants Soul Guard to an allied Esper. And basically what Soul Guard is if your ally takes Fatality and they have Soul Guard, they will revive with a certain amount of HP. And of course, when Soul Guard revives an allied Esper, Nicole immediately grants them Standoff and Recovery. And I'll tell a little bit more about Standoff later. Or actually, you know what? I can tell you right now. So Standoff is further improved in this game. So basically, if you have the Standoff buff after this patch, your AP will not be reduced at the same time. It's actually somewhere below that is mentioned. So this is sick, dude. This, honestly, if Cecilia had Standoff, she would be actually really very strong. But unfortunately, Cecilia is kind of like weaker than Nicole, I think. But this is crazy, dude. Soul Guard. So part of the damage taken by the carrier, there is also this effect here. So part of the damage taken by the carrier will be redistributed to the caster. The carrier, when dies, revives immediately and restores a certain amount of HP based on their max HP. This buff expires on the caster's death. So essentially, if you Soul Guard, like let's say your Narmer, right, you grant him a buff that way, you protect him this way. One way that you can counter this is to take out Nicole, but the thing is Nicole is going to be built very tanky, so you either have to kill Narmer twice or you kill Nicole once, so this is really quite good. This is a really good Esper as well. So Nicole's third ability is Spinning Wrap, deals damage to all enemies based on her max HP, granting defense up and invincibility to all allied Espers, and Soul Guard to the ally with the lowest HP. What is the point of defense up and invincibility at the same time? I do not know. The invincibility probably lasts for like 1 turn, right? And the defense buff lasts for like 2 turns. Or maybe it's like kind of like a protection against Lucas or something like that, but defense up invincibility, that's kind of funny. But you also grant Soul Guard to the ally with the lowest HP. She's so broken, dude. Okay, next, fourth, Meredith. This is, by the way, this is a free Esper, okay? Okay, Meredith possesses powerful lifesteal and support abilities. And Meredith's first ability, Sonic Venom, attacks an enemy with a chance of inflicting poison. This is like, who cares, right? Meredith's second ability, Sonic Shield, restores a certain amount of HP and grants defense up and crit resist to an allied Esper. Okay, so this is like kind of like the same as who was that? Same as Laura, right? But Laura grants it to her entire team. Or rather, Laura only grants a crit resist and a shield to the entire team, but this is a defense up and a crit resist to one Esper. And her third ability, Hand of Scylla, reduces the max HP of an enemy by a certain percentage and restores HP to all allied Espers equal to a portion of damage dealt. Okay, so this brings a very good point. Now that I'm looking at this, reducing the max HP of an enemy, I feel like the only way for you to truly counter Laura Sally teams is to use a Loyan right now, because Loyan is able to reduce max HP of your enemies, and the only way that you can counter someone with a lot of max HP is to use max HP reduction abilities. And now back to this skill again. So Hand of Scylla reduces the max HP of one enemy by a certain percentage and restores HP to all allied Espers equal to the portion of damage dealt. This is going to be such a good counter against Hyde, by the way. You can reduce the max HP of Hyde and at the same time heal the rest of your allies. This is actually pretty good. Now, if an allied Esper's HP is above a certain percentage, you grant them speed up. So basically, you heal everyone in your team and you could possibly grant them speed up at the same time. This is really good. Okay, so Meredith is actually pretty good as well. But here's the big deal, right? This Esper can currently only be acquired in the event shop, so basically for free while the Lone Star is running. So this is an event. They will be added to the Go Record player after the event has closed for a period of time. So very big deal over here. This is obviously pushing the defense meta, or like, as I say, the tanky meta even further, which is the current meta right now. And honestly, with this, right, I can foresee that Dona is being completely useless right now because of all the crit resist over here, right? You reduce the crit rate of your attackers. So essentially, Dona, who used to be like the one-shot wonder over there, he's no longer going to be that potent anymore. In fact, I think he's going to be quite useless. So I think truly the only way for you to excel in the tanky meta is to use Espers that reduce the enemy's HP cap. So I think Hyde still has some value over here because Hyde can reduce enemies' max HP cap. Loyan as well, and I think, are those the only two Espers? I mean, apart from Meredith, so I think Meredith is going to be quite a good Esper to have as well if you're running a tanky setup. Well, at least if you're running an offensive tanky setup. But this will be the end of the first part of this update notice, okay? So this will just be covering the new Espers, the 4 new Espers. I'm so sorry, I thought there were 5 new Espers. I do not know what I read. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below and leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Daddy Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.